Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started with the Unit 1, Section 4 notes. This section we're going to learn how to multiply and divide integers. In the last two sections, I know we talked about adding and subtracting integers, but in this section, we're going to learn how to multiply and divide them. There was a typo in this first sentence. If you want to change the N from is, feel free to do so. So when we think about multiplying integers, the product of two integers with the same sign is always positive. So for example, 2 times 4, that equals 8. And negative 2 times negative 4, that equals 8 as well. So even when we multiply two negative numbers, the result or the product, the answer to a multiplication problem, will be positive. The product of two integers with different signs is negative. So let's take 2 times negative 4. Our answer is going to be negative 8. Or if we take negative 2 times 4, our answer is still negative 8. As our two factors, one is positive, one is negative, our answer will be negative. The product of any integer and 0 is always 0. So 2 times 0 equals 0, and negative 2 times 0 also equals 0. Now let's talk about how to divide integers. The quotient of two integers with the same sign is positive. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 also equals 2. The quotient of two integers with different signs is negative. So if we take negative 8 divided by 4, our quotient is negative 2. Or if we take 8 divided by negative 4, our quotient is also negative 2. The quotient of 0 in any non-zero integer is 0. So 0 divided by 4 equals 0. 0 divided by negative 4 also still equals 0. Let's do a few examples together. We are going to find the product, so that means we are going to multiply them. If you see two numbers directly written next to each other, that is a clue to multiply. 25 times negative 5. Our signs are different, so our product is going to be negative. 25 times 5 is 125. Our product is negative 125. In number 2, we have 3 integers to multiply, so I suggest that we do this step by step. Negative 3 times negative 4, those signs are the same, so that is going to be positive 12, but we still have that negative 5 to multiply. 12 times negative 5, our signs are different. Our product is going to be negative 60. Negative 29 times negative 4, we have two negative signs. Our answer is 116. In number 4, just like we did in number 2, let's do this step by step. Negative 7 times 9 is negative 63 times negative 6. Now we have two negative signs, so our answer will be positive. And when you multiply those two factors together, you get a product of 378. In these next 4, we're going to find the quotient. 28 divided by 14 is simply positive 2. Negative 26 divided by 13, our signs are different, so we're going to have negative 2 as our quotient. In number 3, just like we did the multiplication ones with several integers step by step, I'd recommend that we do that with this one here. Negative 20 divided by negative 220, divided by 11 equals negative 20 divided by negative 4. Our answer or quotient is simply 5. Number 4, our signs are different, so we're going to end up with a negative 120 as our quotient. Alrighty, let's keep going. We are going to multiply first, and then we are going to divide. So if we multiply negative 2 times negative 14, our signs are the same, so we're simply going to get an answer of positive 28 divided by negative 7. Our signs are different, so we know our quotient is going to be negative 4. 12 times negative 3 is going to give us negative 36 divided by negative 6. We have two negative signs, so our answer is going to be positive. Our answer is going to be positive 6. Negative 9 times 27 is going to give us negative 243 over 3, which when we then divide these, our signs are different, so we're going to end up with negative 81. Alrighty, in this next section, we're going to talk about finding mean, median, mode, and range. Some of you may have looked at this before. For others, this may be new. But when we think about the mean of a data set, the mean is simply the average, or the sum of values divided by the number of values. The median of the data set is the middle value, or the middle number. In order to find this middle number, the values must be written in numerical order. If, when you find the median, it doesn't fall on one number, then you would simply find the average, or the mean, of the two middle values that are left. The mode of a data set is the value that occurs most often. I like to think of mode and most as a way to remember this. A data set can have no mode, one mode, or more than one mode. And it just depends on the data set as to what you'll see there. The range of a data set is the difference of the greatest value and the least value. So you're just subtracting there. If we look at our data set, which is our numbers here, in order to find the mean or find the average, we are going to need to add all of these integers together. Please pay attention to what numbers are negative and what numbers are positive when you are adding these. I will give you a second just to go ahead and add them before we divide and find the mean. Alrighty, when you find the mean, your total should have been 130. If you add all of these numbers together, you should end up with 130. In order to find the average, we're going to divide 130 by the total number of numbers that are there, which in this case is 10. When we do that, we find our mean equals 13. In order to find the median, we need to write these values in order from least to greatest. So what I like to do is simply look at my data set, write them in order, and cross them out as I go. That way I don't miss any. So let's go ahead and do this together. The value that is the lowest is going to be negative 35. Then we have negative 14. Then we have negative 8. Then we have 3, positive 3, 3 times. Then we have 19, 26, 44, and 89. All right, it looks like I got all of my values there. To simply find the median, we are going to cross one off at each end until we end up with the middle number. So cross one there, cross one there. We end up with our median of 3. The mode, if you remember, is the number that occurs most often in your data set. So our mode is also going to be 3. The range is simply the difference between the highest number and the lowest number in your data set. So for the range, we're going to take our highest number, 89, and we are going to subtract our lowest number, which is in fact negative 35. If we subtract those, we're going to add its opposite. 89 plus 35 equals 124. Alrighty, to round out this section, we are going to do a couple review problems. Just like we did to find the median, we're going to write these numbers or integers in order from least to greatest. So for number 1, we should have negative 21, negative 12, negative 5, 0, 13, and 31. I'll give you a moment to do number 2. You should have negative 70, negative 54, negative 45, negative 22, and lastly, negative 16. Continuing with review problems, we're going to find the sum or difference, so either add or subtract these. We have negative 27 and 51. We're going to subtract 27 from 51, which is 24. Take the sign of the greater absolute value, which in this case is 51. It's positive, so we end up with positive 24. Number 2, negative 17 plus negative 12. Our signs are the same, so we simply add them. Our answer is negative 29. Number 3, you should get negative 51. And number 4, you have negative 41 plus the opposite of negative 9, which is in fact 9, to give us an answer of negative 32. Now, some of you may have already identified this as a little shortcut or trick, but I'll go ahead and show you this now. When you have 2 negatives together, or minus a negative, that always will turn into a plus sign. So if you go back and look at several of the problems that we did together, for example, on the first page, actually, I'm totally kidding. The other example is in your section 3 notes. But just a good shortcut is if you see minus a negative, it will always turn into a plus sign.